Good morning, sunshine.
Oh, shit. We're on.
I told you we would be.
You know, I had a lot of stuff prepared for this. I was like, should I do the Funkmaster Flex or should I do like the English guy? You know, welcome to a cold, brisk morning on St. Louis, right outside the back alley of Hexton, as you can see here, going to a hold on, wait. What did I say? I don't know. We'll get to it. Anyway, welcome, sir.
Great to
Are you
see
ready?
Dude.
Yes.
I'm excited.
I am excited. Never actually been there. Seen them at like all the different shows and whatnot, but in person,
I think it's going to be cool.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. I'm
From everything
excited.
that I've seen, I think that it's going to be a pretty cool experience, and I'm interested to see like how they actually like make these headphones.
Carefully, I would imagine. All right, so we have, I think it said on there about 4 hours and some change. We should probably go relieve ourselves, and then let's hit the road.
Sick.
Let's do it.
Dude, how did you find the ZMF guys?
So, I remember I had a set of like cheap Sennheisers. You know, I got them, I think at Micro Center, like $150. And like, I was like, oh man, because I was building computers and stuff, and I had this little sound card, and I had my Sennheisers, and I'm like, I'm super fancy, and I was feeling pretty good. And I just remember like I was on the forums, and like whenever you would see a ZMF out there, it was like, dude, that's so baller. Like they just, they look so exotic, and they would always have like fancy, types of wood. So you'd be like, oh, this one's like got a certain kind of grain to it. It's really pretty. Or like, oh wow, look at how that like that grill is like, I don't know if they laser cut it or it's got to be laser cut, I would think, because it's so precise. But like anytime you would see any one of those, it was kind of a standout because, there's some that have like, I think more recently, and obviously their prices reflect that, that have gotten more exotic, in other brands. But like for the most part, it's just a bunch of black plastic, like everything's plastic and everybody's shit's the same. So, you're getting, if you're paying, I don't want to throw any names out there, but like, if you buy one of these other brands, you could be paying, $4,000 or $5,000, for like a plastic headphone with a fancy driver. And it's like, well, that's kind of stupid, in my opinion. And then your set looks like everybody else's. So, with ZMF, well, I guess I'm going off on a bit of a tangent, but like, I just kept seeing them pop up, and I was like, damn, those are nice. And then I started, researching them, and like every single time I came across one, somebody was like, dude, these things are awesome. Like, I really like this, or they're really great at this, or they're, and just over as an all-rounder, they were really good. But like everybody always comment like they're so natural, they're so organic, they're so nice. But then you get all that sound, but then you get the look. And then also the look is like, even with like limited sets that are like of the same wood, they all slightly look different. So like your headphones are yours, right? Like, whereas if I went out and bought, I guess I will, name drop, not that I'm saying anything bad about them, but like if you went out and bought a Sennheiser headphone, and I think you talked about like you had an AKG or one of those sets, everybody's got that set. You know what I mean? Like everybody's got the same thing. So, but if you're like, hey, I bought a ZMF, like that's yours. It's different, it's unique. And even if the wood's all the same, like, hey, these are all walnut, well, the trees don't grow the same. You know what I mean? So like the wood's all different. So I don't know, like I don't know how I originally came across them. I guess it was just like trying to better my existing audio setup and going on Headfi and like some of these other places. For people that aren't familiar with Headfi, it's like there's so much like headphone and audio information on there. I mean, it's just ridiculous amounts of information. But every time I saw them pop up, I was like, man, I want one. And the other thing is like, for the model I was looking at, it's their Verite. It wasn't cheap, and this is when I didn't really have, a whole bunch of money, and but I always wanted it. I was like, damn, I kind of, I guess, lusted after, this beautiful thing that was handmade. And it was like $2,500. I'm like, damn, that's a lot of money, so I had like a pretty good, business was good, and I said, all right, I saved up for a set. And I'm like, dude, I'm gonna pull the trigger, man. Like, I don't know about this. I hope they're good, because if you get them and they suck, for that kind of money, it'd be a big deal, right? But I remember I ordered them, got the confirmation email, and and it took about, I think, like 3 or 4 weeks for them to ship. And I'm like, shit, am I even getting my order? But at the time, this is like my very first pair. Now it's kind of gotten out of hand. But, it was, I'm like, okay, like, did I give my money to like some small little company that's not going to deliver my stuff? And like, no, it's because they're handmade. Like, so it's like, you got to wait. But I remember when I got the FedEx notification, I'm like, dude, my shit's on the way. Hell yeah. Right. I was so excited. And, yeah, and then like, they ship it in like this big case, and then like, you open the case and it's like, they're just sitting there with the grills up, and it's like, oh. And I just remember, like, as soon as I seen him, I was like, right away, I was like, this is the coolest damn set of headphones in the world. Like, I understand immediately why it was worth the money, immediately why it was so expensive, because, like, you just look at them and you're like, this is different. This is something totally cool and different. And what's, exciting for me, obviously I'm talking about it and whatnot, and I don't know how many sets I'm up to now, some stupid number that I'm not sure I want to disclose, more than 30. But, you don't know because you've never seen them in person. Like, we're going to the place where they make them, and they're just so pretty. And but it's not just looks, because you can buy something that looks cool and like has no real purpose, but the way they sound, man, like there's this, I don't know how to describe it. It's just so organic and natural, with like a little bit slight of a bass boost, which I like, because I want my headphones, but it's not like muddy. It's like you're just kind of there. It's like when you're listening to stuff, like if it's vocals, like, dude, they're singing to you. Like, you can hear stuff that's just natural. It's not like, overly emphasized. I don't know. I don't. And the people that run it are so cool. Like, I've dealt with them on a bunch of sets. I'd never been there, which is freaking crazy that we're going there. Like, that's nuts. Which is so freaking cool and so exciting. But I had met him at Can Jam Chicago, and I'm like, dude, this guy's like making freaking masterpieces over here. Like, is he gonna be a jerk? Is he gonna be arrogant? And I mean, it just couldn't be further from what you would think. Like, just down to earth, cool, humble, like not overly arrogant, not overly humble, he's just Zach. And like, I was like, oh, I can just like talk to this dude like he's like a normal guy who makes these freaking masterpieces. And I remember he was nervous. We were talking about it a little bit. He was like, because I forget what model he was releasing at the time, but I think it was the Caldera, their planar. And he's like, man, I was so nervous. Like, I don't know if anybody is gonna like it. I'm like, dude, they're gonna like that shit. Like, everything you do, like, not to be, whatever about it, but like, everything they do, like, I just don't feel like they would release it if it's not what it should be. He's sitting there and just spending all the time making these things perfect. And it's just cool because, like, somebody like that could be really arrogant about what they have. Like, they could be very nasty to deal with and very arrogant, like, well, you just take it, how it is or whatever. But they're not like that. I've had custom requests from them, and every single time it's just been extremely friendly and nice. But I don't know, it's the whole experience. Like, because I've had bad experiences with with other companies too. If there's a problem with it, or like it's late, like people are rude. And I just never had that experience with them. So I don't know. It's definitely been interesting. But yeah, there's just something about like having like a one of one that makes it really special. Besides the way that they sound, which is amazing. To like, oh, this was like made for me. Oh, and then like, I don't know if I told you the story about, I talked about like the custom request, but like, what does that mean? So like we were talking about on our drive down here, my dad passed away and everything. Well, I had to clean out his house, which bit of a hoarder, big mess. But he was always into like, you know, boating and artistry and stuff. So he was going to make this table of this big piece of wood that he had found, but obviously it passed before that had happened. So, and I remember him showing it to me. So when I cleaned out his house, I had kept that one piece, and I just remember out of the blue, I didn't even know what I was going to do with it. You know, at the time, I just want to have this for whatever reason. But, you know, I remember I emailed Zach. I said, basically like, hey, I got this piece of wood. Can you make a set of headphones out of it? Which is a crazy request. Like, hey, I just got this thing. Can you like do this? And he's like, I don't know, maybe. Like, you know, so I basically sent him, you know, some pictures of it and everything. I shipped it to them. And I was pretty freaked out because, like, you know, it's like this dry piece of wood. It's like as soon as they try to machine this thing or whatever, is it just going to explode into like a million, you know, splinters? Is it going to work?
Was he like, maybe?
Well, I don't remember what it was. Basically, it was like the long version of that. But yeah, I was like, I don't know. Like, maybe send it to me and like, let's take a look at it. But like, to be that open to it, like, this dude's freaking busy. You know, like, he's running this company, he's making all these things. He doesn't have any problems shipping headphones, right? So to like, it meant so much to me to just, first of all, just have him even respond. And then be like, yeah, like, let's try it. Like, what, you know, what colors do you want? Like, what do you want it to look like? Do you have any inspiration? So I sent him like some of those like resin tables, you know, like that you see on like Etsy.
Oh yeah.
But I said, all right, well, you know, my dad was into boating. So let's do like kind of a teal, bluey kind of water, you know, with this light wood. Like, let's try to fuse those together. And yeah, I send him like some examples, and like, you know, he was like, yeah, like, so he shipped it to him. Like, he said, all right, you know, he identified what type of wood it was, because obviously he knows, you know, he can probably tell by looking at it, I would assume at this point.
Man knows his wood.
Yeah, right. He knows the wood. But he was like, oh yeah, it's Buckeye Burrow. Let's do this. Let's do that. And I never forget too, like, it took a while, you know, because obviously this is a fully custom, like, truly one-off process just for one thing that I shipped him. And he also sent me the unused wood back, which was crazy, right? But like, I remember the first picture he sent to, like, hey, here's like what it turned out like. And it wasn't finished. Like, it was still like dry. It had been sanded, but it wasn't like, you know, polished. Didn't have like the clear coat or anything on it. But he sent me like this little video. It was dry, and then he like, I guess he put like the alcohol on it to where it would show like the grain, and it went from like this cloudy thing to where like it just exposed how pretty it was. And it's like, oh my God, that's what he did with this freaking slab of dusty, you know, like driftwood, basically. I mean, not quite driftwood, but damn close, you know. And it was just like, there's no way. That's what, you know, the art that they do there. And it just, again, it meant so much to me, because, like, you know, people on the forums like, oh, you have a bunch of headphones, that's why he would favor it. Like, dude, I didn't know this guy from freaking Adam. I bought one set from him, and then I asked him for this, like, you know, a year after that. You know, so it wasn't like he didn't owe me anything. It wasn't because I had bought a lot. It was just, that's who he, and obviously all of them are, you know, there. And again, it meant so much to me, because, like, you know, I didn't really have anything. You know, my dad's house was a freaking mess. Like, there just wasn't really anything that was, you know, I got like a maybe 2 crates of like stuff, you know, whatever. I don't even know what's in them, probably. I'd have to look through them, but, you know, that was the one thing that I took away. And it was like, now it's like almost, and it's so pretty and so perfect. It's like heirloom, you know what I mean? Like, it's like I said, you'll see, and hopefully everybody else will get to pick up on it. Because, like, I don't even think people would know that stuff like this exists, you know, something that's so niche and so cool and so handmade, and just the passion that goes into it, but also just, there's so much love that goes into what they do, that it's immediately evident, like, once you get a set. Like, it's not just the look. Like I said, I keep saying that because it's like, if you had a really pretty car that you couldn't drive, you know, or drove terrible, it's like, oh, suddenly it's not as special. It's like, no, like, once you listen to them, it's like, oh, okay. this is that. You know, and it's become my go-to. Like, you know, as I've grown, you know, in I guess disposable financial, you know, stuff, or the ability to do such things, you know, I've had freedom where I can pick and choose, you know, to kind of buy whatever, you know, in the headphone realm that I would want, but there's just not a reason to. Like, I don't, like, I've heard all the stuff, and yeah, okay, this one maybe have a little bit more articulated treble, or this one has a little bit whatever, but like, so for the guy that I got a lot of my audio stuff from, not Zach and ZMF, but like my equipment, you know, for all the audio stuff, he said, you know, there's a lot of stuff that you can listen to, and maybe in the first like hour or two, it'll just wow you. You're like, wow, this is amazing. I can hear all this. But it becomes fatiguing. Like, it's so much detail that you just don't want to listen to it. Whereas, like, dude, I've listened to ZMFs for, you know, especially like, you know, when sitting at the computer and doing work stuff, like all day, you know, at reasonably high volumes, and like your ears, you know, are fine. Like, it doesn't, but it just sounds right. It's just, this sounds right.
I'm sure they'll tune to your kind of like taste too, right?
Well, I assume, well, so yes, they actually have in a lot of their stuff, and I'm sure he'll talk about it more too, but they have a lot of these where they have like the tuning kits. So like, there's certain meshes you can use, there's different pads you can use. So like, if you want, like, my personal favorite is like the suede pads, because I find like the leather ones can just, and don't get me wrong, I like bass, but like a lot of times the leather ones will give like they'll give like good bass, but it'll have like a really sharp roll off, so it's very quick. Whereas I like the bass to kind of float there for a second and then have like a slower roll off. So you can tune and tweak them to like whatever you want. And again, that's a thing with them, is like, you can't get that from a lot of other people. Like, if you go with one of these other sets, like, okay, here's your set. We hope you like our tuning, right? And by the way, we made the same set for everybody else, you know, whether it's 1,000 or 10,000 or whatever the price is, it's all the same thing. Like, you know, and again, whether or not, you know, that's important to you, I think is subjective. But, you know, for me, it's like, I don't care how successful I get. I want something that I spend money on to have meaning and be special. And I think that's where it's just an obvious standout. Like, there's just nothing like this that exists that not only that doesn't, you know, that looks like that, but also combines the look and the sound together in one package, and you can further tune it to your preference. So, yeah, I mean, I know I'm probably like, you know, singing their praises, but I mean, it's just, it's well earned. You know, it's not that, oh, and I, again, not because he did something special for me. I mean, obviously that was humongously appreciated. That means a lot that he did that. But that doesn't mean, hey, let's go buy 10 more, you know, headphones from him because it's a favor to him because I owe him something. Like, no, it was just like, he keeps making badass stuff. And
since we actually get to do like a tour of the place,
dude, I'm freaked about that. I don't mean to geek out, but dude, that's so cool. Like, we're going to the place. Like, again, I am a huge fan at this point. Like, you know, and I don't think that he would let something out into the market that wasn't ready to be released to the market. Like, it was experimental.
Well, how did this even happen? Did you just straight up email and be like, can I come hang out?
So I was in conversation with him about something else. Like, I wanted to have a specific cable made, and they had sent me email like, hey, you know, we're having a couple, you know, I guess they sent out to like a email to like a handful of people that said, hey, we're kind of doing like I guess what they call it, like a visit day or something like that. And I was like, it was funny because like my first response was like, duh, you know, of course we're going. I don't care when it is. Like, we just got to figure out the logistics of it. But yeah, like, why would you not do that? Like, of course. And I was, you know, again, very grateful that they had considered me, you know, to be a part of that, and also accommodating, right? Like, we're coming into their place of business, you know, and disrupting their workday. You know, but it's cool that, yeah. So basically, to answer your question, they sent me an email Not very romantic, I know, but yeah, and they just said, hey, like we would like to kind of show you around, and I'm like, I wouldn't miss that. I mean, literally, call me what you will, but you know, it's my son's birthday today.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So
what? You did?
Yeah. No, I sung happy birthday to him as I was leaving for the office, you know, so we could meet up and everything to make the trip. But yeah, so like, and it was the only day that they could do it, you know, because again, work is insanely, you know, work is successful and busy, but it's, you know, the busyness means the schedule is always packed. But yeah, so the only day I could come out here was legit on my son's 11th birthday. So after we get back from ZMF, I have to, you know, the woman's taking care of, you know, presents and stuff. But yeah, we're gonna have to sing songs at, you know, whatever. I don't know what time we'll get back tonight. You know, 8 or 9 o'clock at night by the time I finally get home. But yeah, it's but again, it's like, not to say that it's equal because that's, you know, ridiculous. But it's important for me to come out here and just be a part of it. You know, it's a cool thing that they've got going on here, and I'm grateful and honored that they allowed me to be a part of it.
Do you have, like, since we're getting kind of an inside look, like, I don't know, like, what do you expect? Do you have any expectations or like shit you really want to know about, or like what's on your mind?
Man, that's tough. I don't know. You know, like I don't have an agenda. If that's, I guess the best way I can say it is like my expectation is to see some really cool stuff. Like that's because I don't think that that's not possible. Like for where we're going. I don't have an agenda. I don't have an expectation. I really don't even have any questions. I'm sure they'll come up as I talk to Zach, because like, again, like when at our first meeting, when I met him years ago, I don't know how long it's been, 5-6 years, maybe more. I didn't really know that much about the stuff. You know, I'd only had the one pair at the time, and I went out there and picked up another. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any expectations, and to say that I did would be dishonest. Like I want to see somebody who's done a lot for me and who I would consider, you know, I guess a distant friend, if you will, because like, how could you not want to be, you know, cool with somebody like that just has that level of passion for something that they do. And
are you nervous?
I don't know, maybe a bit. I think honestly, my nervousness, I think that comes more from like not having a script. You know what I mean? Like I just don't know what to say. And maybe that's just like, you know, that fanfare, you know, where like, you know, if you like, I don't know, if you met like, you know, Hulk Hogan or something, you're gonna be like, you know, oh Hulk, wow, and then you kind of stop there, you know, like what do you say? Like, you know, unless you're a huge fan, you're like, oh, that WrestleMania, whatever, you know, and obviously, you know, he passed, but you get what I'm saying? Like, you don't know. You have all these things you would think you would want to ask, but then you get there and then you lock up, and I'm hoping that doesn't happen today. Yeah, I don't know. I'm
if it does, we'll just make sure we film it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, me locking up, that'll be entertaining. Like, hey, look, it's Zach, guys, and you know, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm not. I don't know if nervous is the right word. Probably really excited. Like this is a really cool thing, and I never thought that I'd be coming out here to the place where they make these things that I enjoy so much, and it's really cool. And that's kind of where I've gotten to in my mind. It's like, this is cool. I don't know what I think. You know, outside of that, it's like. It's kind of like this, it's wow, and yeah, we're getting pretty close here. So I think the closer we get to, it's like, oh, you know, yeah, yeah. This is fucking cool, dude.
You look like a kid in a candy store.
Dude, we're like a fucking 1 minute away, from like going into like ZMF. Like, that probably doesn't mean anything to a lot of people, but let me just say this. Those in the know that appreciate their stuff realize how freaking cool this is, right? Like that have, sat in there in the bidding war, or not bidding wars, but like, the drops where it's like, okay, you've got like 30 seconds max to pick out your set before that shit's sold, God, I participated in so many that I've lost a lot of sets that I wanted to, Is everybody like, oh, well, did you get like a back door into like the system? No, dude, like I'm in there trying to get them just like the rest of y'all. It doesn't matter if I had, 10 sets or 40, like it's still the same process. There's nothing special.
You got the golden ticket, dude. You're going to Willy Wonka's factory.
I'm saying though.
If we can find it.
No, I'll find it.
Oh, hey. I think we just found it.
Did we find it? We're getting close.
Google says so. Wally's?
Wally's. I got my Wally's wipes. All right. Oh, you're filming me? Wipe off my Italian shine?
The Italian stallion dome.
Yeah, I guess. All right.